This morning, joining us for Spotlight is Lorde, General Manager of the Mount Irvine Bay Resort. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and how are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent, and it's a pleasure to have you with us on the show. Of course, the conversation surrounding the impacts of the S.O.E, specifically on the tourism sector, is one that we do need to have, and it would be good to hear from you first, your perspective on whether or not there is any effect at all thus far.
Most definitely there is an effect. The unfortunate thing, it's not easy to measure the effect because you're not able to easily determine who was intending to make a booking and have decided not to based on the media coverage internationally. But what we can definitely say is we've seen a slowdown in bookings for the period, especially being the winter period. We would have had a higher occupancy at this time.
Now, as you mentioned, of course, it is challenging to measure, but one thing that you would have been able to measure would have been cancellations. Thus far, have you received an uptick in cancellations, not just at your resort, but throughout the island?
There have been reports of cancellations, however, not large amounts. But what we are realizing is a definite slowdown in business.
Now, it's good to hear that it isn't in a large amount. However, that is right now. From your experience and from your peers as well, what are your thoughts rather on what could happen as, of course, this is going on into April?
Well, this is definitely crippling, and essentially we've lost the entire winter season. And for us as hotel operators, the winter season tends to be our largest occupancy period from the international market perspective. And we've lost that. So it's a very, very unfortunate situation at the moment.
Have hoteliers such as yourself been able to come together to work on some sort of strategy to mitigate some of these effects?
Well, we've been working together, not just on mitigating the effects of the S.O.E. We've been working together by way of the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association and our continued partnership with the Tobago Tourism Agency. Our ability to mitigate the effects are very limited, or I should say our ability is more directly related to how we can communicate with our tour partners to let them know that Tobago is still open. It's business as usual, and we have done that. However, in terms of the Foreign Office or the diplomatic corps communication to their nationals, it's kind of hard to listen to the Tobago Hotel Agency saying Trinidad and Tobago is open for business, things are normal, and then you have a briefing that says an S.O.E. and it's painted in the rawest of terms. It doesn't compare. And in that regard, persons say, and the Home Office says we shouldn't be traveling or we should be paying extra attention. That's what they're going to listen to.
Understood. What about the impact of Forex, particularly as you mentioned, it's the winter season. We know, of course, tourists are going to be coming from all over the world, not just the United States of America. Have you experienced any additional impact? Of course, I have to say additional, given what we are experiencing as a country at this point in time.
Most definitely. You mentioned Forex, and the greatest opportunity to gain Forex outside of the oil and gas opportunity that Trinidad and Tobago may have is through the tourism business. And we have seen declines in our occupancy and matching declines in our collections in foreign currency. So it is having a profound impact, and we're seeing that impact into and past the winter season.
Now, tell me, has there been an operational impact as well, particularly when it comes to staff?
Staff, at least at my resort, not directly. We still continue to maintain the staff levels we had previously. However, persons may have less hours than they may have had in a busier period. But by and large, our staff remains intact. And I think for the most part, other operators on the island are doing their utmost best to keep their staffing situation in a very positive direction.
Now, let's shift to the other side of tourism, particularly domestic tourism. We know a lot of Chinese, of course, come over to Tobago. Has that been affected by the S.O.E?
Not distinctively, Initially, you would have had some pullback. So you would have had some pullback in the domestic market initially, but by and large, our occupancies and our numbers with the domestic market is trending in the same place it would normally be for this time of the year.
In light of that, Mr. Lorde, would you think that Trinis coming across for Carnival is going to assist in boosting what we're seeing as, of course, becoming an issue?
Not really, because the position where the train is coming across for Carnival is going to fill the gap that it normally fills. What we have now is a widened chasm between where we want to be and where we actually are. And Trinis are not necessarily going to be able to fill that gap completely. In addition to which, Trinis are taking the opportunity to also go to some of the other islands because the availability of flights to go to those islands are significantly easier than it is to come to Tobago.
Mr. Lorde, what recommendations do you have, if any at all, to be able to fill that gap at this time?
At this time, the communication from a government level needs to be a little clearer in the international markets. The agency speaking, it doesn't compare, right? So I think it still needs to be a further level of communication to say we are open for business. Things are happening now that we have not lost significantly what we had on the books at December 30th or December 31st, but we've seen a slowdown in persons saying, hey, I want to book and come, right? And I think that is directly related to the information that is communicated to them in the media from a very high level, way beyond the level of the agency.
Now, in light of course, what has happened and taking into consideration previous years and what the trend would have been for tourism, do you think once, of course, the S.O.E. comes to an end, you're going to be able to recoup some of these losses?
Recouping losses, no, but I think controlling the burn, possibly yes, but recouping losses, no.
Can you just...
the damage has been done.
When you say the burn, can you just give us some more details on that?
So if I'm losing $10 a month right now, that burn is going to slow down or come to an end with the S.O.E. But to recoup the losses itself from the month or months that we would have to undergo with that, I would not recover that.
Okay. Mr. Lorde, just stepping slightly away from your hat as a hotelier and just the general feeling of Tobago as a citizen, what is it like for you?
I am quite comfortable. I think obviously the situation in Trinidad and Tobago from a crime perspective is untenable. However, I think in Tobago specifically, there was a period of time in 2024 where I was feeling, wow, uncomfortable. However, I think the authorities have gotten the situation to a level that there is a little more comfort in the average person on a day-to-day basis. That being said, I think there's still too much crime and criminality for us to just sit and be relaxed.
And before we wrap our conversation, Mr. Lorde, any words or closing comments rather for Trinidad and Tobago and the world who are watching?
No, I'm just going to always continue to advocate for Tobago in the tourism space. I think we have a beautiful product, internationally qualified and acclaimed product, if I would say that. So I would continue to encourage persons to come visit Tobago.
Mr. Lorde, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. Hoping that you have a great day and all the best for the weekend.
Thank you. Same to you. It was my pleasure.
Alpha Lorde, General Manager of the Mount Irvine Bay Resort, with us this morning, speaking on the S.O.E. and the effect on the Tobago tourism sector. Stay tuned. The Now Morning Show continues after this break.